Welcome, guys, to another live episode. So today's episode is going to be a very interesting one. Listen, this is mind blowing. If you're an influencer watching this, or if you're somebody or a business owner who's like, you know what, I'm interested in influencer marketing, then we're going to be covering some interesting topics and some interesting articles today. I want you to say this. I want you to imagine this. Imagine if I'm talking to you right now. I'm like, hey, let's say your name's John. I'm like, John, I'm going to pay you $8,000 per post, which means for every post that you make, you get 8 grand. Now, I want you to think about it. You're gonna be like, dude, that's insane. Who pays 8,000 for a post? We're gonna be covering that, okay? Because today we're gonna be covering how an AI, an artificial intelligence persona, is able to make $8,000 per post, and also we're also gonna be talking about the fact as to what generation of people do you think are trying to be influencers? Are we talking more about the baby boomers, the Gen Xers, millennials, or Gen Z? We're going to be covering those stats here. So if it's your first time, do me a favor, hit the like button, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And if you are watching this on the replay on Spotify, do me a favor and go ahead and hit the follow button and share this video with someone if you believe that this video was of value to them. So first things first, let's go ahead and dive into some stats, guys. So before we dive into some stats, I want you guys to see if you recognize these names. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you some names. So these are some virtual influencers. We're gonna become some virtual influencers. Do you know who this is? Lil Miquela. Do you guys know who this is? Let me know in the chat. Do you guys know who Lil Miquela is? Do you know who Shudu.gram is? Because you may not know who they are, but apparently they've got Lil Miquela's got 2.8 million followers. And you've got Shudu.gram have 242,000 on Instagram. And then you have Kyra Onig has got 250. And you've got whoever this is has got 6.5 million. Okay. And you look at this brand, guys. Look at this. They're repping actual people actually using this for ads. Their businesses are actually paying them and sponsoring AI to basically go out there and basically push your product, right? So we're going to be covering, which is very interesting. So first, we're going to dive into how much money do these AI influencers make, right? Because I'm like, what? I couldn't believe it. We're going to be covering right now. We're going to be diving into the amount of money that they get paid per post, because you won't believe it. Listen, when I say you won't believe it, guys, you won't believe how much money they get paid just to basically, that's not the one I was looking for. That's not the article I'm looking for. That's the article I'm looking for right there. How much money they get paid per post. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this here. We've got Lil Miquela, obviously, is the top earning. Okay, she makes, so this is per post. So Lil Miquela has got 2.8 million followers, and she makes about 8 grand per post. So she's got about a 4.8% engagement rate, right? And you have Googie Mun, whoever that is, and she's got $4,881 per post. Okay, that's earnings per post. And you look at the numbers, it goes absolutely insane. Someone even makes 666, 634 per post. That to me is insane, to be making that much amount of money per post, guys. So that's pretty basically, we're looking at it right now. So this Lil Miquela, remember, guys, covered up. She's making 8 grand. Now, what's also interesting is we're gonna look at this Lil Miquela's net worth. So how much money is Lil Miquela worth? Okay, so this is, if you're already pissed off right now, trust me, you're about to be pissed off even more. I'm gonna show you how much money right now this influencer is worth. So this is according to the Supercar Blondie. She makes roughly, charges about 8 to 10,000 per post. So Samsung hired the 19-year-old AI influencer to be one of the faces of its hashtag Team Galaxy campaign. This is in 2019. 2019. We're in 2023. This is 4 years now. This deal alone reportedly net her more than 10 million. 10 million. Okay. This year alone, Lil Miquela is going to make roughly $11 million this year. Just look at that. Let's look at the stats right now. Okay. Launched in 2016. This year alone, it's going to make about 11 million. Well, I got to give him kudos, because whoever it is managing this AI, because I actually looked at it, it's weird how they create it, but it's also fairly simple and easy to create like an AI influencer if you want to. It's just like it's not a software that's available on the market. You pretty much just need like a third-party tool to be able to create one. But just imagine to be making roughly 11 million a year posting on Instagram, and you are just basically managing, controlling AI. I personally just thought that was insane. So we're looking at it here basically. So that's basically Louis McKen's making about $11 million, which is crazy because now you kind of look at it from. I'm also going to be sharing with you guys some stats here because surprisingly enough, there was a generation of people. We're going to cover that generation here in a bit. It's a generation that believes that they want to be AI, they want to be influencers. They're like very, very headstrong. Like, you know what? I'm going to be an influencer. That's it. I want to influence the world. That's what I was called for. And your competition is crazy because if your competition is artificial intelligence and AI is already dominating the market, now, can you beat it? Can you beat it? Are you sure you can beat it? So this is what we're going to be covering here. I'm going to cover what generation. I want you guys to just pay attention. We're going to talk about what generation right now is very big on saying that they want to be influencers. And you're watching this right now, you're probably like, Emmanuel, I already know that. I already know what generation we're talking about. I'm like, they're like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. But you may be wrong. You may be wrong. It might be boomers. Maybe baby boomers like, hey, I'm retired now. And since I'm retired, all I can do is just influence the world, talk about my history in the workplace, and talk about how awesome of things that I've done. I want to travel the world and influence society. Maybe it's boomers, maybe it's millennials saying, you know what? It's a workforce. I love this workforce. And I so much want to show people how awesome it is to work at the job that I'm at. Or maybe it might be Gen Z. Might be going, you know what? The world sucks, global warming and all the good stuff. And maybe that's them. Maybe you never know. So let's go ahead and look at the stats, guys. So I want you guys to look at the stats, which is interesting here. So let me go ahead and see if I can. Let me pull this up really quickly, and then we'll go ahead and look at what generation. Okay, take a guess. I'm gonna give you a second. Take a guess. I'm about to pull it up. Take a guess. All right, boom. We have it here. So broken down further, 41% of New York Gen Zs intend on becoming an influencer in the future, while 30% of LA, Los Angeles Gen Zs feel the same way. Okay. Now, what's also another interesting stat says, according to authors, just 7.13% of Gen Z responded that they would not want to be a social media influencer. Just 7.13%. It's funny. It's my girlfriend calls me an influencer sometimes. I am not, and I told her I'm not an influencer. I have no interest in being one. I have no interest in being referred to as an influencer. I just believe I'm someone with a message. I'm not gonna post about my life and like, ooh, I just showed up in this restaurant and this is a very awesome restaurant. And I think, you know what, you should be going to this restaurant. Don't you should be going to the restaurant? Oh my God. No, not doing that. Absolutely not. So I'm not talking bad about influence. If that's what you do, if that's who you are, if you're making your money doing that, I have nothing against you. It's a capitalism system, and I 100%. If you're doing it, kudos to you. Keep doing it. Keep crushing it. I wish you best of luck. But for the rest of us, rest of the world, we need to live in reality, which means we all need to live in the fact and understand that we need real life skill sets. Okay, we need real life skill sets, which means you and I, like, you gotta think about it. I don't have the face of an influencer. I may, maybe not, but I'm not gonna be there like, ooh, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna be. Look at this guy, look at this biceps. Yeah, let's go be it now. I'm now. Let's be realistic here, and that's kind of the same thing here. I want you to think about it. If you are someone who's Gen Z, whatever your age group is, and you're a Gen Z, the competition is very very competitive, right? And you are unique. But how unique are you if I put you in a imagine this, if I put you in a room of I want to go ahead and pull the board up here. I'm gonna pull the board up here, guys. So you guys know I have a fancy board. If you're watching this, there should be a video version of this as well being put. Once this live is done, there's gonna be a video version being put on Spotify, so you should be able to see this. But if you're driving, don't stop your car for this. Okay. So I want you to take a look at this. Just imagine this. Let's move this mic away. Imagine this. Imagine this is you. Okay. And I put you in a room with 100 versions, one other, or let's say 10 people. Okay, so there's 10 other people. The chances of you being unique, yeah, there's high odds. If I put you as far as skill sets, and I believe we're all unique for the most part because no one else looks like you unless you're a twin or a triplet, and then in that case you're out of luck. But just kidding. Um, just imagine I put you in a room of 10 people. Okay. Now you're like, okay, so 10 people, all right? You're like, okay, there's more odds of you being unique. You might, let's say, you know what, you got a PhD, you have two PhDs. Okay. And, out of 10, maybe you're the only one. All right. Now I put you in a room of 100 people. Okay. Now the odds of finding somebody else with your skill sets, a little likely, a little higher, but let's say you're still unique. Now I put you in a room of 1,000 people. Okay. Now it's like, yeah, you might be you and maybe 5 or 6 or 7, maybe 10 other people might be fairly different, gifted with a few skill sets, right? But now I put you in a room with 10,000 people. Okay. Now it's like, now we're looking maybe 20, 30, 40 people. So your competition is maybe 40 people with your same skill sets, and everybody else is just pretty much, doing their thing. Now imagine I put you now in a room of 100,000 people. Now your competition is 400. You got about 400 people you're competing with, right? Now I put you in a room of 1 million. Now you have 4,000 people. Okay. The pool is still small, right? 4,000 people. The pool is still small. Now imagine I put you in a room of 100 million people, where you have about 400,000 people that can do the same thing you do. Now you are in a red ocean, right? So when you start looking at it from a perspective of like, I think in the future, I think already now the influencer market is pretty much already like, for the most part, I think it's saturated. If you ask me, I think the influencer market's saturated because if you look at it, there's almost 500,000,000 YouTube channels. Okay, and then what if you're on Threads is what 200 million Threads accounts, 230 million users. There's millions of 2 billion Facebook users. There's so many. I mean, if you look at it from the perspective as to the numbers are vast. Okay, there's a crazy, crazy, crazy amount of people out there that can do the same thing. So if you're looking at it from that perspective, and you're looking at it from that trajectory, right? This is something I want you to take a look at. This is something I want you to take a listen. I want you to take it back. Is there is a lot of people that can do exactly what it is that you're doing. Okay, so when you're looking at there's a book called The Blue Ocean Strategy. I highly recommend you go check out the book called The Blue Ocean Strategy. It basically tells you how you should stop competing in a red ocean. Red ocean being basically where somebody else can do the exact same thing you do just for cheaper. Same thing with influencers, right? You might be willing to create 10. I've had calls where I called this young lady and she was like talking about posting. I was like, you need to post some content, and just to give you an idea, we post more than 50 posts a week, and to me, that's us not even doing enough. Okay, because you look at someone like Alex Hormozy, who's like he makes 300 posts per week, and everyone's wondering why the guy's going viral. So I want you to think about this and take a listen to this. Pay attention to this. When you're looking at it from a perspective of, what I have value to offer, yes, absolutely. But everybody else is looking at it the same way. So which means when you're trying to say, what, I'm going to be an influencer, what you end up doing is like, okay, if everyone is trying to be an influencer, everyone is basically now going to be an influencer. So who's influencing who? If everyone is like, I'm going to be a musician, I'm going to be a music artist, and then everybody else sings, and it's like, what's special about the skill set, right? So you almost have to make yourself stand out. So you got to look. That's why I recommend you read the book, The Blue Ocean Strategy, to know, like, for instance, if you're selling a product, if your product is ABC, and that same product can be duplicated in China, can be duplicated in Taiwan, can be duplicated wherever it is, then what makes your product stand out? Being fully realistic. Okay, that's kind of what you think about. What you think about it from that realistic perspective, though. Okay, so if we're looking at it from the math here, we go back to that article, which is basically we're gonna look at this Gen Z stats, guys. We're not done yet. So basically, this is basically a survey. A total of 1,000 individuals in the United States between ages 16 and 25 completed the survey. So this survey is based off of 1,000 people, and basically results vary slightly by region. More than 40% of respondents in the West, but if 7.13% of Gen Z responded they would not want to be a social media, it means everybody else wants to be a social media, right? Social media influencer, right? So you got to think about it. When created, the majority of respondents guessed the average yearly income of an influencer was between 75,001 and $100,000, and many pointed to free products, earnings, and meeting other influencers as the top perks. So people are anticipating and thinking that the average influencer makes about $75,000 to $100,000. We're gonna Google this. Well, how much money do influencers make? Okay, how much money do influencers make? Because you're looking at it from the top in the top percentile of influencer. Okay, you're looking at it from because it says basically micro influencers in the industry can earn up to $150 and $600 per sponsored post, while those with 100,000 or more followers may charge anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 per post. Right now, what you're looking at here is you're looking at a what is the word I'm looking for? You're looking at the top percentile of influencers. Not a lot of people making that much money. Okay, that's what you think about. Not a lot of people are looking and making that much money. So what you're looking at right now is you're looking at it from the top percentile. You're looking at it from the top percentile of basically of income earners for the most part, right? Of the people with who have actually genuinely built the followers, because majority of people have fake followers. There's a lot of fake followers, bots, and all that stuff out there. So if you're looking at it from that perspective, yeah, if you're comparing and saying, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna be an influencer, and then someone's gonna pay me 5 to 10 grand because I have the following. Yeah, but you also got to think about it from a perspective. It takes work. Like, I'm not. My intention is not to be an influencer. My intention is to build a brand. All right. That's the name of the goal here, is to build a brand. So when people think about it, hey, it's like when you think about ego, you think, okay, this guy talks about artificial intelligence, talks about motivation, talks about business, right? So it's like, okay, cool. All right, you know what? I know what the brand. I know exactly what to expect. Imagine, you know what? I come in and I start talking about, I don't know. You start seeing me talking about how to cook. You'd be like, that's not his brand. I've never seen Emmanuel cook. I don't even think he knows how to cook, which FYI, I really don't know how to cook, by the way. So that's kind of the same thing to think about it. So notably, gotta learn to read here. So over a quarter of individuals also said they require posts on social media with the intent to gain followers, while 35% of men report caring about their follow account. Jeez, I guess it's that season. Compared with 31% of women. Notably, the survey, you can go ahead and read this article. There's this article on this is a the heel, but we're basically just basically touching the surface, right? So we basically solve and answer the question, what generation wants to be influencers? Or we cover the fact that the Gen Z generation want to be influencers, right? Hey, it's to each his own, right? But now we gotta look at it from a perspective of influencers in the sense of they want to influence people. But who is paying them this money for the sponsored content? Because someone has to be paying them the money for the sponsored content. Who is the person paying them the money for the sponsored content? That is where you, the business owner, comes in. So stick around, guys. I'm going to show you how you can basically get an influencer to promote your product, and you can pay them per post, and how to basically genuinely vet the influencers that you're going to be basically hiring to basically do the post, right? So one, let's look at it from perspective influencer marketing. So we're going to look at some statistics on influencer marketing. Okay, we're going to be looking at some statistics on influencer marketing. So this is just some key stats on influencer marketing. So we cover the fact that Gen Z consumers, which is also another reason why you should consider influencer marketing, or basically you could even call it user generated content. Is Gen Z consumers trust influencers as much as they trust their friends. Think about it from a perspective of people spend more than 4 hours to 6, maybe even 8 hours of their time looking at this device right here. Okay. They spend most of their day, most of their time, most of their seconds, hours looking at their device. And if I'm scrolling through my device, watching somebody talk about a product, what you can name whatever the product is. I'm watching someone talk about a product. I'm just basically observing them talk about whatever it is that you're talking about. Now you got to think about it from that perspective. I'm going to start to relate with them and build a relationship with them, right? That's when, if you look at it from that perspective of how the Gen Z influencer market basically is a thing. It's because if you're spending so much of your time, so much of your day just consuming someone's content, just watching someone's content, then I mean, you got to think about it from that perspective that it's only a matter of time before you, boom, you're hooked. Now, next, you start saying, "Oh, you know what? I gotta watch this person." I would assume by now, if you've been watching, because we probably already at 70 or 70 some episodes by now. I'm hoping that, but if you watch me right now, you're like, "Oh my god, Emmanuel's posting my new best friend. He's super cool. He's awesome." Yeah. Or if you're not saying that, then I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe we just you and I got beef. I don't know. Did we got beef? If we got beef, let me know now. But just kidding, guys. But obviously, let's dive back into this article here. For some reason, my jokes I gotta get a little funnier. Like, jeez, golly. I feel like for now my jokes have been dry. Like I'm doing some dad jokes. So, over 70% of Gen Z consumers follow influencers on social media. More than 50% of Gen Z consumers have made a purchase. So, think about it. More than 50% of Gen Z consumers, which means people who have bought something, have bought it from an influence recommendation. Okay. So, that's basically the stats. So, if we look at stats here, so why millennials and Gen Z follow influencers. So when deciding whether to follow influencers, you got to think about it, right? So these are key things to pay attention to as well if you're going to be picking an influencer, right? So they authentic and genuinely care about their interests. So they care about the followers' interest, right? So which is you have basically very important in green and somewhat important in blue. They are funny or have engaging personality. So you need someone who's engaging, 53%. They're knowledgeable on something I care about, which is 48%. They're intelligent or thoughtful, that's not, I would really count. Depends on your brand. If you're gonna do something that's more AI business related, then yes. If you're gonna do something more clothing or anything else that's just, cosmetic, yeah, maybe, but not necessarily. They have interests that are similar to me, yes. They have good taste, and I trust your recommendations. These you can go down the line and you can basically find um a few lists there. But basically, social media, you need to be spending a lot of money on social media, which is interesting because if we look at this, this is an interesting stat here. If we look at this article from I believe it's Influencer Marketing Hub, and this is a report from basically talking about the influencer marketing statistics, right? So let's go ahead and pull this up here really quickly. So basically, so an increasing majority of standalone budget for basically people have budget for content marketing. So nearly 63% admit to having a standalone budget for content marketing. This is business owners. So this figure creeps up each year, and it's up from 61% last year, which 59% in 2021. Yet, although these figures are over 50%, they're surprisingly low. For example, HubSpot reports that 82% of respondents use content marketing in 2021, up from 7% in 2020. So, which means the market is consistently growing. 63% of respondents feeling the impact of 2023's, and if you kind of go into this, so this is the stats I'm looking at. So, more than 80% of our respondents intend to dedicate a budget to influencer marketing in 2023, which means there are people who are out there, like, you know what, I'm going to reserve so and so dollar, so and so amount of money to get an influencer to basically promote my product. So the general satisfaction felt by firms that have engaged in influencer marketing seems to flow through to their future planning. For example, 82% of our respondents indicated they would be dedicating a budget to influencer marketing in 2023. This is a noticeable increase from last year's 77%. So you got to think about it. People are going to be spending. You gotta understand, this is the allocation. So 67% of people are going to be allocating more money into influencer marketing. You're probably thinking, Emmanuel, I don't think it's for me. My business does not need influencers. I run a tow truck business. I run a whatever you want to call it. The reality is this. I'm going to tell you something. I think most people, when you hear influencer, you mistake the factors too. Let's define an influencer. If you turn on to your favorite news station, Fox, CNN, anyone you want to call it, you turn on to your favorite news station, and you see an ad, right? A big pharma ad, whatever ad you want to see it. When you see that ad, I want you to think about this. Think about this in this perspective. What is the purpose of that ad? It's to get you to go check out their product, right? So once you say in a way that a news station is influencing you, and as an influencer, they're getting paid per, advertiser, per ad that they show out there for impressions or whatever it is, right? So if you're looking at it from that perspective, which is the perspective I'm looking at it from the perspective of wait, I'm also being influenced. We're all being influenced by by something. You're influenced by the news, influenced by people around you. We're all in some way, shape, or form being influenced by an individual, whoever it may be. But when you look at it from the perspective of, hey, you know what? I'm watching the news. They put in an ad. They're basically an influencer. When you watch your favorite radio station, listen to your favorite radio station, you're being influenced, right? So the whole concept of influencer is just basically now it's imagine it as independent contractors now. So instead of people having to go through your favorite news station for the news, you just go to your favorite person for the news, right? Or instead of going to your favorite business to buy a product, you just go to somebody else who's repping the product. Like, I'm repping Rise of Results. This is still a very small brand, so I'm not expecting to sell out on t-shirts because we're wearing Rise of Results, and we don't sell t-shirts, by the way. But I don't expect to sell out of this. But if I was wearing a Nike, Nike would be like, oh, you have an exclusive sponsorship where you only wear Nike. You can wear only Nike, and then boom, ta-da. Yeah, if you catch my drift there. So now, if we kind of dive into this stats a little deeper, guys, is influencer marketing is just basically the same. It's been going on for a long time. It's not something new. The only catch 22 now is basically that it's a free market that everybody else now has access to this. Okay, so and we've also looked at the stat that Gen Z prefer to buy from influencers. Okay, so this is another key stats, guys. So we're gonna look at this key stats here, and I'm very curious what your take is, and we're gonna be diving a little deeper here. I'm very, very curious what your take is. So one, so let me see if I can pull this up here real quick. And do me a favor, guys, if you're watching this right now live, do me a favor, like the video, comments, let me know if you like it. Let me know what else you want to see. Don't forget to share it as well. Okay. Influencer market is now this is an interesting stat. It's now a 2.1 billion, $21.1 billion industry. 21.1 billion. That's what it be. Leon, 9 zeros, dollar industry. Okay. and that's basically increased 29% from the previous year of 16.4 billion. Okay, that's basically the influencer marketing side. So 2016 it was 1.7, in 2022, because remember this is a 6-year growth, but this is also factoring the fact that people were home a lot in 2020. So what happened was everyone was online. So since everyone was online, you started watching your favorite content creators. Like for instance, if I had started this podcast in 2020, it would have been bigger now because people would have been home and they'd be like, "Oh shit, oh my bad, Emmanuel's just posted. I'm gonna go watch his content." Okay, so that's kind of what you want to think about there. So it's 16.4, and then you have 21.1 billion. Okay, Instagram continues to be the most preferred platform, and then you also look at it from the fact as to influencers are making the most amount of money on there. I mean, you look at an AI that's basically getting paid 8 grand a post. Okay, so this basically means that the market is growing and the content is key. Okay, content is key. You got to be creating content if you want to be an influencer yourself, or you got to find somebody who is an attractive persona that can rep your brand. Okay, you need to find an attractive persona that can basically rep your brand. So influencer marketing is something that's, unfortunately, guys, it's not going away. Okay, it's not going away. It's gonna be here. And AI, I mean, think about it. If I learned how to control, basically have an AI do all the stuff that I wanted to do, I could just basically have an AI influencer. But the problem that is gonna come into here is, the problem is you're not gonna be able to tell what is real and what is fake. You're not gonna be able to tell if this is a real person influencing you, or if this is a fake person, because guess what? You can create one from like nothing. You can just use a video, and then boom, from that video you can change. Imagine if I wanted to swap, make a video and I can swap my face out of it, and then you can be like, whoa. It's very, very easy to create AI influences because the videos are getting very, very realistic, and we're also getting to the point in which now it's almost insane for you to be able to tell what is real and what is fake anymore, because I mean the internet's just a crazy place. So in 2022, the influencer market in the US was, obviously, you saw it, 16.4, and it's grown up. 72% of Gen Z and millennials, they pretty much do. We've pretty much covered the stats for the most part. But you got to look at it from a perspective as to where do you find influencers, okay? Where to find influencers. So as you guys know, I've pretty much been covering the articles from Influencer Marketing Hub. So the Influencer Marketing Hub is basically, I am not getting sponsored by them. So this is not a sponsored content. No one is paying me $8,000 per post. It'd be cool though, guys. If they're watching this, you guys can, if you wanna, send some moolah my way, you can send some more. But they've been so far a reasonable. You can just come up here, influencer marketing, and you can come up here and you can read the stats and stuff like that. But let me see here. That's the article I was looking for. Let's pull this up here real quick. That's not the article I was looking for. That's it. That's it right there. So this is basically places you can basically go ahead and find influencers to market your product. Okay, so you can go to a tool called Upfluence. Upfluence. So you can go to Upfluence. So Upfluence is another tool that you can basically use to go ahead and find influencers if you want to basically, you know, have them promote products to your audience. Kitly Business, you can find that as well. And then, Fable.ai, and there's a few more tools, but one of them that I'm actually looking into personally, like I said, I have not used them, but will be Upfluent. So if you want to go, you can go to Influencer Marketing Hub and you can find the article on this, and then you can basically go ahead and choose what you wanted to do. But like I said, influencer marketing is growing. It's a $21.1 billion industry in the past, 11 years. It's basically added $20 billion in revenue to the industry. So definitely, guys, check it out. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Definitely don't forget to like the video. And obviously, guys, it's a pleasure having everybody on. And as always, thank you guys. And listen, bye bye. Take care. Have fun. And don't forget to please do me a favor and share the video if you believe that this video